The Manu Samhita tells us that these were the 17 most important kinds of civil cases which the king should try in order of priority. Most of our practices, almost all of our practices of dharma are actually based on the Puranas. The funeral rites are from the Garuda Purana. The way the temples are constructed, they are from the Matsya Purana. Yet, since Parjitar in the 19th century and a little bit Pusalkar in the early part of the 20th century, we have reduced the Puranas to Amar Chitra Katha and what we watch on Epic TV. Puranas, like the Mahabharata, they're encyclopedias. They are part of our history, they are part of our culture, they are part of our legacy, they are part of Sanskriti, and Sanskriti is intimately linked to Sanskrita.
Roy, one of India's finest economists, has passed away at the age of 69. He was the chairman of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, a Padma Shri awardee, an author, a columnist, and one of the architects of India's Amrit Kal vision. Dev Roy was well versed in diverse fields like history, culture, politics, and spirituality, and his work left a profound impact on India's intellectual landscape. But more than his policy making work on structural reforms and India's economic liberalization, which in itself was highly distinguished, the thing he'll be remembered most for is his dedication to making ancient Indian texts accessible for younger generation. Roy, one of India's finest economists, has passed away at the age of 69. He was the chairman of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, a Padma Shri awardee, an author, a columnist, and one of the architects of India's Amrit Kal vision. Dev Roy was well versed in diverse fields like history, culture, politics, and spirituality, and his work left a profound impact on India's intellectual landscape. But more than his policy making work on structural reforms and India's economic liberalization, which in itself was highly distinguished, the thing he'll be remembered most for is his dedication to making ancient Indian texts accessible for younger generations. Dev Roy was only the second Indian after Manmata Nath Dutt to translate both the Mahabharata and the Ramayana into English in their unabridged forms. This means he literally translated the entire full length of the scriptures into English so that those who can't read and understand Sanskrit, which is most people nowadays, would be able to read exactly what the scriptures say.
Rama's progress, Rama Ayana. So it's just one individual's perspective. The Mahabharata has the views and perspectives of multiple protagonists. So it's a bit like a novel in the sense that a novel is defined by the views of multiple protagonists, whereas the Ramayana is more like a story, long story, in terms of the views of protagonists. The reason I mention this is this was not stuff that was written down. This was composed and verbally related. So when I come to, let's say, the second chapter, people will have forgotten what the first chapter was like. So I need to remind them what happened at the last time we met, last time we had this recitation. So there is a natural repetition.
In fact, he also translated Hindu texts like the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Harivamsa, and Shiva Purana, among others, enriching access to these texts for English speaking readers across the world. Like Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman mentioned in her condolence post, even his book showed his knack in extracting nuggets from our ancient texts and using them in stories. His immense knowledge was reflected in his books, his columns, his writings. In fact, in his last column before his passing, which he sent to the Indian Express and has now been published, it was practically a self obituary. As another member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, Sanjeev Sanyal, says, it was almost as if he knew. He called the column short of a requiem and he writes, there is a world outside that exists. What if I am not there? What indeed? He went on to say that in the end, he would only leave traces in memory and perhaps a few condolences, maybe even from important people. What will they mention? He writes, recounting his decades of work across various domains from trade to railway reforms. Nothing seminal about such work, he says. I had a role in the rat race, I was temporarily read and then passed into oblivion. In fact, he vividly described some of his last days, which he spent in cardiac care center in Ames Hospital in Delhi, and referring to his possible death, says that in the event, the only personal loss will be Suparna's. Suparna is his wife. It means nothing to anyone else. While ministers, scholars, and those who knew him are condoling the passing of this towering scholar, it's only fair that you and I should at least know what his contributions have been.
Namaskar, hello and welcome to this very solemn commemoration whereby we all have convened over here to commemorate the 70th birth day of Vivek Da, as we very fondly call him. And as we were watching this a small obituary from the Mint, we thank them for this very short and concise uh, I would say, life summary of Vivek Da. Vivek Da's life mattered to a lot of us, and that's why we all have come here to commemorate his 70th birthday. The man, as the commentary talked, that he was the only one who translated both Ramayana and Mahabharata in English language, and that was one of the greatest contribution of his. We can say so, the Indian knowledge traditions, Bharatiya Bauddhik Parampara, and as we also saw that beyond his role as an economist, his role as a Shastrakar, as someone who took out the esoteric wisdom of Bharat, of Sanatan Bharat, in the modern lingo, in the modern format to the youngsters who would be taking this eternal legacy of this Rashtra further and forward. And today we are really very, very fortunate, very, very privileged that Bibek Das' birthday is being celebrated in his name by commemorating some of the leading lights who are carrying forward the great work of like indulging, expanding the entire vistas of Bharatiya बौद्धिक परंपरा in myriad shades. एक सूत्र में तो जो शास्त्रों की बातें हैं, बट उनका जो अधुनातन मोस्ट कंटेम्पररी एंड फ्यूचरिस्टिक मैनिफेस्टेशन of the works in myriad fashions. It is being carried out across the nook and cranny of the country. And today is also the Indian National Tourism Day. And we at Rethink India, we try to plead to our entire community that tourism has to be further expanded into तीर्थाटन and देशाटन. तो भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा के रूप में पर्यटन के जो दो स्वरूप हैं, तो भारत को जानने का जो एक विधा रही तीर्थ यात्राओं की, तो वी वुड बी felicitating some of our today we have got sapta rishis, as we have mentioned the seven rishis across the seven institutions and individuals from various IKS centers, their great work. We would be just cheering it across. So let me just start off. Uh, yeah, today's commemoration. So just a moment. सो विवेक दा ने महाभारत का जो ट्रांसलेशन किया, और महाभारत में जो एक उक्ति आती है कि जो कुछ यहाँ नहीं है वह शायद संभवतः कहीं और नहीं होगा. दैट्स shloka which goes on. It reads, you are all we have got so many scholars out here that I just can't repeat it across. त्रुटि का जो संशय है. सो तो वही है कि भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा की जो अधुनातन स्थिति है, एंड इट हैज कम एट अ वेरी वेरी important time frame when the world is really on inflection point whereby all the technologies, the fourth industrial revolution, the Davos World Economic Forum just concluded yesterday, एंड देर इज एक अलग प्रकार की धारा वहाँ बह रही है कि किस प्रकार से प्रकृति को, सृष्टि को मानवकृत तकनीक से कैसे बांधा जाए, कैसे स्टारगेट $500 बिलियन का एक एआई सुपर पावर इंजन बनाया जाए. और वहीं एक दूसरी ओर भारत का एक दर्शन है जो एक 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 डायमेट्रिकली ऑपोजिट एक व्यू देता है कि जीतना तो अपने मन को है, जीतना अपने आत्म को है. And a lot of these philosophical contests would be coming further and forward. And जो एक संशय की बात है, जो एक वूका है, वोलेटिलिटी, अनसर्टेनिटी, कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी एंड एम्बिग्यूटी इन द होल वर्ल्ड. परहैप्स भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा, भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा प्रेजेंट्स अ सॉल्यूशन टू ऑल ऑफ दैट. सो आज का विवेक दा की स्मृति में, दिस इज हिज फर्स्ट birth anniversary post his departure from this material world, but he is so very well with us in our bookshelves, in our memories. हम सभी को कहीं ना कहीं विवेक दा ने छुआ है, इस कार्य को, हमारे कार्य को भी व्यक्तिगत रूप से भी. तो आज उनकी स्मृति में हम आज ये जो सप्तऋषि हैं उनको आज सम्मानित, उनकी ही स्मृति में विवेक देबरॉय भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा संवर्धन प्रशस्ति 2025. तो सर्वप्रथम मैं निमंत्रित करूंगा, बृहत प्रोनाउंसिएशन में त्रुटि होगी उसके लिए क्षमा चाहता हूं. बृहत का जो एक पूरा का पूरा व्रत है भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा को, उन्होंने सबसे गहन प्रकार से छुआ है, समझा है. उसकी भी फिलोसॉफिकल फाउंडेशंस जो उन्होंने रखी हैं वह उसके आपके समक्ष प्रस्तुत है. और हमने सप्तऋषियों को, जो हमारे सप्तऋषियों के साथ ही सभी को एक सप्तऋषि के साथ जोड़ने का भी एक प्रयास किया है. सो बृहत is being commemorated, is being celebrated this evening for emerging as a uniquely placed cultural engine which is appreciative and aware ऑफ द ट्रायम्विरेट टेनेट्स. भारत में प्रस्थान त्रयी की बात होती है, तो उन्होंने अपनी एक जो विशद बौद्धिक परंपरा में भारत के ये जो ट्रायम्विरेट टेनेट्स हैं ऑफ, पहला है सिविलाइजेशन इज कल्चर इन एक्शन. दूसरा, इट नीड्स कल्चर कंपैटिबल पॉलिसी. एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली, Brahat has realized and factored that the work of self-perpetuating civilizational consciousness is intergenerational. तो एक जीवन का प्रकल्प नहीं है, इंटरजेनरेशनल प्रकल्प है. तो मैं निवेदन करूंगा बृहत के फाउंडर्स और बृहत के जो इंजन्स हैं, द इंजन्स बिहाइंड द कल्चरल इंजन ऑफ बृहत. और मैं क्षमा चाहता हूँ कि मेरे उच्चारण में जो दोष है वो उसको आप सुधार दें, कि विवेक दा की स्मृति में इस दे एक्सेप्ट दिस टोकन ट्रिब्यूट. और इस मंच पर आज का यह जो ऑथेंटिक भारत, दैट इज इंडिया, जिस मंच का हमने नाम दिया है, कि भारत की जो ऑथेंटिक परंपरा है उस पर हम विवेक दा की स्मृति में चिंतन मनन करें। तो मैं निवेदन करूंगा बृहत के साथियों से कि वो आकर अपनी बात यहाँ रखें।
Thank you. Namaste, Ji. Thank you. Namaskar to everyone present. I take great responsibility in accepting this. I am here representing Brihat, the entire team, and of course, the founders. I am one of the co-founders. The founder, Raghav Krishna, is my husband, and he's traveling. Along with me, there is Pankaj Saxena ji, who's the other co-founder. Thank you, first of all, Rethink India, for this beautiful, felicitation and the way you've thought about it with the Sapta Rishis. Thank you for, thinking about us and being able to recognize the work that we've, so far done. Although I would say this is in our minds very premature for us. There are giants who've, treaded this path, starting from Sri to many organizations like Indica and other prestigious organizations in the Indic landscape. We have just begun, and we see this as a beautiful encouragement for us to carry on the work. We call ourselves the culture engine. We are in the work in a little bit due to different reasons, primarily because of the education system that we've been handed, is and becomes more accessible, available, and aspirational for our young generation. And towards this, our work has been offering different programs where our young can get in touch with this beautiful system of knowledge and access it in ways that they can carry forward. So towards this, we do a lot of online courses. We call this Drashta. Our reason for naming this Drashta is to give a different drishti to the way we process knowledge and carry it forward. We do this across different domains, and we also include civilizational heroes. We talk about Hindu mathematics. We talk about Ayurveda. We have, like Bibek, does translation works. We have had Ami Ganatraji's programs on our courses, where we make the Ramayana and the Mahabharata accessible to a large, populace. Apart from this, we also conduct immersive experiences like our Brihat Anveshi program, which is a temple tours. Temples being the center of knowledge system, its glory has to be reconciled with today. And if we were to pass this on and preserve it, all our children and our future generations should have access to the beauty of the temple. And to this effect, we take groups of people. We have done so far 8 visits to different kshetras of Bharata. And in here, we do, in the 3 or 4 days that we get with the group, we dive into the various aspects of the temple, the architectural, the symbolic, the folklore, the spiritual. All action that we do at Brihat, at the very core of it is the sacred. And how we tie this is with the individual, with the institutional, and with public policy. When we say intergenerational here, which you had just mentioned, sir, what we mean is that it is not enough if we, consume this information. How do we ensure that this is something that is perpetuating? How do we ensure that this knowledge system is there 100 years from now, 200 years from now, and for eternity? The problems of the world today need to come from a thinking and a drishti that is different from the ones that created it. So we believe that Bharata has all the solutions to different problems, and more importantly, the worldview to solve those problems. So I humbly accept this on behalf of the entire team and my founders. Thank you so much for this, and we see this as a great, push to do further work and request all of you who are present here to join us in this, sankalpa we have taken. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reena ji. And I would really like to invite all our participants today to really uh, walk through the Brihat engine. What a mesmerizing portal it is out there. And it is so intertwined, like the Bharatiya Gyan Bauddhik Parampara. अंतर गुम्फित तत्वों से संपृक्त है बृहत। मैं निवेदन करूंगा डॉक्टर सुरभि से, जो कि रीथिंक इंडिया इंस्टीट्यूट की अध्यक्षा हैं, कि वो बृहत के विषय में दो शब्द भी कहें। डॉक्टर सुरभि।
सभी को मेरा हार्दिक अभिनंदन और प्रणाम। और बृहत की जो इतनी आई शुड से इतनी प्रोफाउंड टीम है, जिन्होंने इतना सुंदर और दिव्य कार्य को एक्शन में परिवर्तित करके संकल्प से सिद्धि उन्होंने सिद्ध कर दी, उन्होंने प्रमाणित कर दी, उनको मेरा भूरी भूरी शुभकामनाएं और साधुवाद। और आशा करते हैं कि ऐसा ये कार्य जो है आगे और आप इसी दिशा में सतत प्रयास और अपना जो एफर्ट है वो डालते रहेंगे। ये हमारे देश के लिए एक विभूति है, एक हमारी नियामत है, एक उपलब्धि है, विशेषकर जो ऐसे संस्था आज इतना बृहद और विशद कार्य कर रहे हैं। तो ये आपके इसके लिए आपको पूरी पूरी मेनी मेनी कंग्रेचुलेशंस हार्टली एंड बहुत बहुत साधुवाद।
सनातन भारत की वृहद बौद्धिक परंपरा को आगे बढ़ाते हुए वी वुड नाउ लाइक टू फेलिसिटेट द वैदिक बॉन्ड, जिनके लिए हमने ऋषि वशिष्ठ सप्तऋषियों में से उनको डेडिकेट किया है। एंड दे आर बीइंग फेलिसिटेटेड ऑन दिस वेरी solemn occasion for emerging as an incredible IKS Setu. They like to call themselves as a bridge, the Rama Setu, the IKS Setu, facilitating the inner unfolding of young minds through the embodying and promoting dharmic values through a slew of creative and innovative interventions, as in Shubh Ratri, which is bedtime Indic storytelling, Arogyam, yoga and Ayurveda immersion, Mantra Manjari, Vedic chanting, and leading through Mahabharata, Anvikshi, गिशु एंड सो ऑन। तो वैदिक पॉन्ड ज्ञान के एक सरोवर में द वे दे आर रियली डूइंग दिस फिनोमिनल जॉब, वी वुड लाइक टू इनवाइट द टीम फ्रॉम द वैदिक पॉन्ड टू एक्सेप्ट दिस टोकन ट्रिब्यूट एंड ऑल्सो एड्रेस द फोरम। Vedic Pond. I think we're missing them. Okay.
Bibek ji, I think they are not here. Just a quick mention that this is one of the greatest joys to be able to actually have our own team members and their startup into the Indic landscape being featured here. Namrata and Srihari, who were our students at our previous university and School of Public Leadership, are the founders of the Vedic Bond, and I take great joy in seeing this felicitation being conferred on them. They have a beautiful system to ensure the Sanatan system follows. They have beautiful offerings for very young kids. We have engaged with them, and they conduct some of our programs as well for school and children from all over the globe. They also partner with institutions to create interest in young children through Indic storytelling, through yoga, and through mindful living with the backdrop of Ayurveda. I'm just taking this opportunity to speak on their behalf as it is for us our own.
थैंक यू सो मच। गुरु शिष्य परंपरा का जो भारतीय बौद्धिक स्वरूप में जिसका अधिष्ठान है. आई थिंक दिस इज एन एग्जेम्प्लिफिकेशन ऑफ द सेम. मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, आई एम वेरी सॉरी व्हाट हैज हैपेंड टू द फोटोग्राफ आउट हियर. जस्ट अ मोमेंट.
And in fact, I would like to come in here and say that, storytelling to children in the form of Indic, Vedic stories and उन प्रसंगों को मतलब बाल मन पे अंगीकृत करना ये इतना एक महत्वपूर्ण एस्पेक्ट है. आई बिलीव दैट this is something which is really, worth accolading. It's very important because बाल संस्कार जब फाउंडेशन पे ही पड़ जाता है तो नींव ही गहरी हो गई तो वृक्ष तो बड़ा और फलित होगा ही.
मैं क्षमा चाहता हूँ, कुछ तकनीकी कारणों से फोटो अपलोड नहीं हो पा रहे हैं. मैं 2 मिनट में आई विल बी जस्ट कमिंग बैक, जस्ट फॉर अ मोमेंट. So, so the next felicitation we really want to get on. Just let me just download the PDF. Okay, I will just rather. Yes. So the next felicitation is on Madam Anuradha Goyal for her seminal book. As you can see on the left, I think my PDF is just coming through. For a very very important aspect of Bharatiya Bauddhik Parampara, and just there is some issues. I'm very very sorry. Madam Anuradha Goyal, for her book How to Read Indian Scriptures, Paving the Pathway for Swadhyay. स्वधर्म और स्वभाव की बात तो बहुत होती है, पर जो स्वाध्याय से जनित जो एक बौद्धिक परंपरा का स्वरूप है, पेविंग द पाथवे फॉर स्वाध्याय मीनिंग the reading of the original scriptures, which helps one to get the right perspectives with the right context and allows one to interpret them as per one's life experiences, as differentiated from reading their interpretations by various people. So, Madam Anuradha Goyal, who is an avid Parivrajrika, who is an avid traveler and a Tirth Yatri, we can say so, because the way she has understood Bharat and written about Bharat from a भारतीय पर्सपेक्टिव. बहुधा भारत को पाश्चात्यों ने देखा है और अपनी दृष्टि से भारत के तीर्थों को, भारत के ज्ञान ट्रेडिशंस को दे हैव ट्राइड टू पुश फोर्थ. बट मैडम अनुराधा गोयल ने इन डिटेल्स के माध्यम से एक बहुत ही एक ऐतिहासिक सेवा की है भारतीय तीर्थों की. मूलतः उन्होंने इनफैक्ट द टूरिज्म स्पॉट्स को भी उनकी आध्यात्मिक ऊर्जा के साथ जोड़कर देखा है. एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली फॉर बिबेक दास, द बिबेक देबरॉय भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा संवर्धन प्रशस्ति इज बीइंग extended on her for this very book which you can see on the left, How to Read the Indian Scriptures, जिसका मैंने अभी let me see if the citation is just coming through. Just तो मैं बहुत बहुत क्षमा चाहता हूँ मैडम अनुराधा गोयल से. इट जस्ट हैपेंड आउट हियर, बट और क्योंकि आज इंडियन नेशनल टूरिज्म डे भी है, भारत का पर्यटन दिवस है, विश्व पर्यटन दिवस 27 सितंबर को हम लोग मनाते हैं और 25 जनवरी को भारत का जो पर्यटन दिवस है. तो मैं निवेदन करूंगा जब तक मैम का साइटेशन इज जस्ट कमिंग ऑन द फोरम, बिकॉज शी इज द मोस्ट क्वालिफाइड वन ऑन द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ कि भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा को भारतीय परिव्राजक परंपरा से कैसे जोड़ा जाए. तो Madam Anuradha Goyal, if she can just come and address, and till the time I'm just loading her citation with her photograph and all. Madam Anuradha Goyal.
नमस्ते राघव जी, सुरभि जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सबसे पहले तो आप लोग जो ये बड़ा काम कर रहे हैं कि हम लोग जो भी काम कर रहे हैं उसे स्पॉटलाइट में डालने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। यू आर पुटिंग मिरर अराउंड अस वेयर वी कैन शाइन थ्रू। So thank you very much. It's not an easy task, and not many organizations have thought of it. And I've had discussions with Surbhi ji to say that you must take it to the next level now, and make them as the most sorted after prashastis, as maybe the right word. So thank you so much for doing this. Now coming to Bibekda, I've had the good fortune of writing a book with Dr. Bibek Debroy. So I'm very proud to say that, there's a book cover on which both my name and Bibek Debroy's name are there together. And if I can share small, stories from how we wrote this book, I have been wanting to write this book after I read, some very uh, Western view kind of books on Navratri and Devi, which really, really made me angry. And I wanted to write a book. And I tried my best for a year or so. It just was not happening. And in the process, somehow, I got in touch with Dr. Bibek Debroy and I shared it with him. And I said, this is what I want to do. Please guide me how to do it. And he said, let's do it together. And I said, fine. And from that day, within about 6 months, we had written the book and published the book. And it was such a delight working with him. And, we know him for his body of work. We know him for, in the field of economics. We know him in the field of Indian scriptures. But as somebody who worked with him without meeting him, I worked on this book. I met him after our book was actually published and released. He was one of the most busiest persons in India, juggling so many balls, but he was the most professional person I have ever worked with. If he said, I will finish this by Sunday, I knew it will be finished by Friday. And if he said, he could have easily dumped work on me, I would have happily done that. But he divided the work 50-50 right in the middle, did everything that he needed to do. And it was such a delight. And those who have had the good fortune of working with him would know this. But I wish this is also one of his legacies that we as Indians need to take forward. The professional behavior, the essence of pran jai par vachan na jai. Today, anybody who's a entrepreneur or who is a professional working in India, especially independent people like me, we struggle. People say something that means something and they do something. That is where a lot of our productivity is wasted. Believe me, with Vivekda, we didn't waste a single minute of each other's time. If I sent him a mail, I was 100% sure that I'll get a reply within 24 hours. If I do not get a reply, I would be worried if he's okay. That was the extent. I think last message I exchanged with him was less than a month before he passed away. And that message was delayed. And I later figured out that it was delayed because he was hospitalized. So, that is, I think, a bigger hidden legacy that he had, and that allowed him to do so many things with so much of efficiency, with so much of excellence in them. So I think India is at a juncture today where we've achieved a lot in terms of numbers. Now we need to focus on quality. We need to focus on excellence. We need to take inspiration from our temples and say, if my ancestors 1,000 years ago could build something of this quality, 1,000 years later, I should be able to build something better than it, or at least as good as this. So that is the next paradigm shift that I want to see. And I think it has to come from each of us. The professionalism, keeping your own word, even if we are able to keep our own words, if we commit to something for a certain date and time or a certain value, if we are able to maintain that, we will be able to do a lot more with our time. We will be individually as well as collectively far more effective. And that's something I learned so much from Vivekta, and something that not many people who've worked with him directly would know. Uh, then I had the good fortune of Bibek interviewing me on temples for a series that he was doing for Sansad TV. And believe me, I mean, the way he treated people, I was nobody in front of him. I was just nobody. I was like one shishya waiting to, get a blessing from him. And he would treat me absolutely equal. He would not allow me to touch his feet. He would treat me absolutely like, I mean, he made me feel I am far bigger than I actually am. So that's another quality that he brought out. And if you see the series of obituaries that were written for him after he passed away, he impacted so many people. He encouraged so many of us. So he was not just looking at leaving a corpus of books behind, he was also nudging a lot of us to take over from where he has left, So I wish, that part of his work ethic and his personality is taken forward by some of us. I think I hope some of that has rubbed off to some of us, and we will be able to carry forward, nurture the next generations, help other people, collaborate with different kinds of people. It would be great if today the people, 7 people that or 7 organizations that you are felicitating, if you can create a group and introduce us to each other, because I don't know anybody. I mean, I'm just looking at your collateral, and I don't think I know any of them, or any of them know me. So it'll be great if you can connect us so that we can, I'm sure there are some collaboration points somewhere which are possible. Uh, I started my journey of reading Indian scriptures about 8-9 years back, and it's my daily routine when I'm at home to get up in the morning and spend 1 to 1.5 hours reading uh, Indian scripture in original in Sanskrit, along with Hindi, which is my mother tongue, and that has opened up so many vistas for me. And I've been telling everybody that we must read the original uh, scriptures. But then I also understood, as somebody who's originally studied science and worked in IT industry, I also understood a lot of mental blocks that our organized education has put in our heads that we can't read. There's so many of them. So through this book, I have tried to address all those mental blocks. Do I need to know Sanskrit? Do I need a guru? Do I need initiation? कहाँ से शुरू करूँ? क्या करूँ? Time नहीं है, क्या करूँ? I've tried to address all of that, and I'm very happy. In last 1 year, in 2024, this book was among my books. This was the bestseller. So people around the world are actually reading it, and they, a lot of them write back to me saying that now I'm reading this scripture, which gives me a lot of joy. And thank you so much for recognizing that, and hope this encourages a lot more people to write about our scriptures, to write simplified versions, easy to read versions of our scriptures, as well as to imbibe them practically in our lives. If you start reading originals, they'll slowly become a part of your life. You will start making them, they will start reflecting in your day-to-day activities, in your day-to-day behavior. That is kind of guaranteed. So so thank you very much, Raghav ji and Surbhi ji, and I accepted with in all humbleness, and I'm really grateful to you for giving it to me. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, madam, for really carrying the flame of the भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा. आज जिन भी सप्तऋषियों का हम सम्मान विवेक दा की स्मृति में कर रहे हैं, उन सभी का जो फोकस है, दे आर ऑल फोकसिंग दैट ध्रुव तारा, दैट पोल स्टार ऑफ भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा फ्रॉम डिफरेंट एंगल्स। और तभी ये सप्तऋषि की जो ज्ञान की परंपरा है निर्बाध, एंड व्हाट मैडम हैज ब्रॉट अबाउट अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पैराडाइम is like going to the sources. And as we have been also joined in by the honorable Nideshak of Bharatiya Pradyogiki Sansthan Mandi, Professor Lakshmikant Behere sir. We had the great good fortune of hearing him on artificial intelligence and the Adhyatmic intelligence of Bharat. I think that's the kind of an ideological contest we have to really present to the whole world wide world who is going out there. Ki going to the source in the entire scientific parlance, we have somewhere a lot of cryptic or a lot of aberrations have gone over there. And madam's this quest, this self-ordained quest of immersing herself into the Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, that reading the scriptures in its originals has its own relevance and importance, and somewhere or the other Sanskrit learning in its own resplendence has to be really taken up in the right earnest. Thank you so much, ma'am. Moving forward.
One sec, Raghavji. I'll take this opportunity to also tell all the other people on the panel, all those who are here, that I have recently had the opportunity to spend 2 months at Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, at their Bharat Adhyayan Kendra. And I have worked a lot on the Bharatiya Tirth Parampara. So I have been teaching this as a subject for last 3-4 years. But in 2024, I spent 2 months there to properly document the Indian travel traditions, our Bharatiya Tirth Yatra Parampara, based on scriptures as well as based on my personal experiences of traveling through this in 20th, 21st century. So if any of you if any of you would want any material on that, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And as you can see on my backdrop, the travel tales, भारत की जो ट्रैवल टेल्स हैं वो तीर्थ की दृष्टि से जब की जाती हैं, तभी वह सनातन भारत का जो आध्यात्मिक स्वरूप है वह रिफ्लेक्ट होता है, इट अनफर्ल्स लाइक दैट. सो जो सेक्रेडनेस का एक जो भाव है, दैट इज द इंडिक पैराडाइम, दैट इज द इंडियन वे ऑफ लुकिंग एट. और कण कण में जो शंकर होने की जो बात है. Moving forward, we would now like to felicitate from down south a very lovely institution which is which is benedicted, which is blessed by the spiritual personality, Her Holiness Amritanandamai Mata. The Amrita IKS Center at the Amritanandamai University Vishwavidyalaya at Coimbatore, and they are being our humble tributes to them for championing the Pariksha Paddhati, the knowledge creation and validation in Ayurveda, laying down the epistemological foundation, ontological categories, and pramanas, thereby contemporizing the Indian medical system at par with that of the modern medical system for new knowledge creation. So, somewhere or the other, there is a larger debate about the scientific evidence, the scientific validation, and so forth. So I would request P. Ram Manohar ji, who heads the Amrita IKS Center, and others who would really like to come in to accept this token tribute on this from this August forum. We are nobody to confer upon. It is the forum which is recognizing this great work which is happening. The very recently we had a controversy when the Honorable Nideshak of IIT Madras mentioned in a very scientific fashion the value, the medicinal value of Gau Arka, and it was misinterpreted all across. And perhaps the work of centers like Amrita IKS Center that would bring about the Bharatiya medical system to the global frontiers. I would request Ram Manohar ji to come and accept and address the forum as well.
Namaste, Raghavji,
Pranam.
Surabji, and all the organizers. And it's a real honor to receive this recognition from Rethink India, and at the very outset, along with Dr. Manish Walwekar, who is present here, my co-PI on this project. On behalf of Amrita IKS Center, we would like to wholeheartedly receive this recognition in all humility. And I find that we are honored by the name of Atri amongst the 7 rishis, and it is so appropriate because amongst all the rishis, Atri was a Vaidya or a physician. So we have written Atri Kritayuge Vaidya, Dwapare Sushruto Mada, Kalau Vagbhada Namacha. So Atri is the Vaidya of the Krita Yuga, of the Satya Yuga. And I think this is such a great honor that we are, being recognized in this hallowed name. So thank you again for that. So one of our great paramparas in Ayurveda is called Atreya Parampara, also derived from the sage Atri. Now, I want to say, although we have been recognized for one of the components of Amrita IK Center, the Pariksha Paddhati, our framework is much broader. In fact, what we are trying to do is to bring a kind of framework and approach that can kindle the regeneration of Indian knowledge systems, and so that it can start continuing to contribute originally to knowledge creation. We believe that we need a pluralistic framework for knowledge, and Western science and epistemology is one lens through which we can view and understand nature. We already have understood in what ways it can contribute, but the knowledge that we gain from one system or one approach is incomplete, and that is where Bharatiya Jnana Parampara has come in. It gives us another perspective. And unfortunately, what is happening, especially in the field of Ayurveda, is that we are trying to force fit Ayurveda into the scientific framework. And therefore, we are losing out on what Ayurveda can actually contribute by giving an alternative perspective. So, Amrita IK Center aims to show how we can reactivate creativity in the Indian knowledge systems. So we have Ayurveda, Vyakarana and Darshana. What we are saying is that Ayurveda is the Shastra here, Vyakarana is the linguistic framework, and Darshana is the epistemologic framework. So for every Indian knowledge, Indian Shastra to be rediscovered, we need to embed it within its own linguistic framework as well as its epistemological framework. So this is a model. If you diverse the system from that background, then it's sold. So I will briefly try to say what we are doing. The first component of this center based on Ayurveda is Arogya Samskriti, which is an attempt to rediscover India as one of the most oldest health conscious civilizations of the world. So what we have attempted to do here is to scan the entire Sanskrit literature, non-Ayurvedic Sanskrit literature, and collect information on health. And our findings are quite fascinating. What we have found is that at this stage, we could look at about 250 Sanskrit textbooks, covering almost all aspects of Sanskrit literature. We have made a map and a tree where you have Vedic literature, Laukik literature, all kinds of Natya Shastra, Kavyas, Jyotisha, Vyakarana, Dharma Shastra, Artha Shastra, whatever type of literature you look for and you search a text, you will find something related to health in these books. Which means the knowledge of health was not disseminated only through Ayurveda. The entire Jnana Parampara gave emphasis to health. So this is so much in tune with the ancient idea. Like Ayurveda is health focused. Modern medicine, unfortunately, in spite of developing so much knowledge about health and human health and disease, it seems to be focused more on disease. Curing a disease after it happens. Whereas Ayurveda is completely focused on how you can prevent disease, how you can remain healthy. And that is what this Arogya Samskriti is, focused on. And in this, we have stitched together, we found 7-8 domains of Arogya Samskriti. Arogya Buddhi is one, because we were one of the oldest civilizations which realized that the real immunity from health comes when you have awareness within yourself, when you cultivate health intelligence. And that health intelligence is called as Arogya Buddhi. And it is through by nurturing Arogya Buddhi that we developed Arogya Samskriti. And then, there are many domains like how from all these textbooks, in fact, I found rich information that is not even there in the Ayurvedic literature is found in non-Ayurvedic Sanskrit literature. Now, the modern students of Ayurveda are not getting exposed to other Shastras. And so they are not getting this perspective. Today we are dissecting Charaka, Sushruta, studying it with modern subjects, and it's become very narrow. The broader perspective will. So this Arogya Samskriti, we have been disseminating this knowledge. We have conducted internships for Ayurveda students. This is also for the public. So we have conducted workshops, webinars, online courses. We just completed one round of an online course open to the general public, people from all walks of life. We conducted quiz programs. We have developed charts. We have video resources. And this entire collection of verses that we have compiled, we are planning to make it into a database which can be made available in an interactive form to the general public so that, we can use this to rekindle this ancient idea of Bharat as an Arogya Samskriti. Now, the second thing in which Dr. Manish Rajan has mainly contributed, tremendously is the Vyakarana component. Because we believe that for the recovery of these Shastras, whether it's Ayurveda or any Shastra, we must have a valid version of the script or the text. So an attempt is being made to do a critical edition of the Ashtadhyayi. It's the first time in the whole world that, and we are connected with global scholars. I think about 600 manuscripts have been targeted, and in the first phase, 200 manuscripts were screened. And we have a first zero draft of the first version of a critical edition of the Ashtadhyayi. So many manuscript library. I think this collection is, am I right, Dr. Manish? This collection is one of the most comprehensive collections of manuscripts of Ashtadhyayi in one place.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is the second. And the third one is the Pariksha Paddhati. So in the Pariksha Paddhati, we want to really, this will be helpful not only for Ayurveda, but we have created that. For lack of time, I cannot go into all the details, but this is looking at Ayurveda critically from within its own epistemological framework, especially the idea that we have to create new knowledge, because Ayurveda needs to be updated. And as long as we try to update it from modern scientific framework, we'll not have that original thought process that is being lost. So that is why the Pariksha Paddhati has been created. We have looked at the Darshanas, Ayurveda, and a white paper has already been created. We have had online courses, workshops, seminars, mentoring programs to propagate this. And in our last online course, which we conducted, and this we have done for Ashtadhyayi component also. They have mentored students, they have done online workshops, courses, all these things. And in Pariksha Paddhati, in the last online course, we had a capacity of 300 students, but 681 people registered. So, it's very heartening to see that the whole community has accepted this process, very openly. And this involves critically looking at Ayurvedic texts, not blindly believing in it, based on some of the statements. Like Charaka says, Pariksha, that we have to do. This is in tune with what Kalidasa also mentioned. Santa Parikshya Anyatarad Bhajande, Mutha Parapratene Buddhi. So that's something which is the Purana Mityava Nasadu Sarvam, Najabi Kinjit Navamityavadyam. That is the concept on which Pariksha Paddhati is resting. And we are really hopeful that it will create a new line and angle of research in the field of Ayurveda. I know that we are in short of time. There's so many things to say. It's very exciting to be here on this platform. But I would like to take this opportunity to, congratulate all the other recipients of this honor. It has been fascinating to listen to all the previous recipients. I mean, they are doing amazing work, and we are really lucky. I have to say that we have also just taken our baby steps, and in this context, your encouragement means so much to us. We get the feeling that, we are moving on the right path, and we do hope that in the near future, we will be able to get somewhere closer, even more closer to what we are aiming at. So once again, myself and Dr. Manish Walwekar, together, we are so honored and happy to receive this recognition. Thank you so much.
And Dr. Surbhi coming from the Akhil Bharati Ayurvigyan Sansthan, uh, ये अमृता आई के सेंटर के ट्रिब्यूट में some two words if you'd like to.
So definitely, I would like to say that, sir, we are fortunate that listening to your exhortation and invocation of the Indic, jnana of Ayurveda. And I am an allopathic doctor trained from the AIMS Delhi, and day in and day out till my journey till today, I feel that Ayurveda is so very deep, and as you very rightly pointed out, that the Western medicine systems are focusing on the disease. The approach to healing is from the disease purview point of view, whereas Ayurveda, as far as, and you are a guru in your own self, sir. So first of all, pranams to your entire aspectva and your profound contribution to the field of Ayurveda. It's a scintillating pleasure for me to listen to your videos and talks and lectures on YouTube and wherever I can access them from. And I'm an ardent, passionate, listener of your knowledge and deep, such a deep, I should say, dive into the entire ocean of the Adhyatmic and the Ayurveda and the medical knowledge. So we take the Charak's oath at AIMS. We are doctrinated with the degree of MBBS with the Charak's oath and not the Hippocrates oath.
Wow.
So it is our, really, passion to know how Charak Samhita and Sushruta Samhita can be, mapped to the modern medicine systems. But very much we find that, and as I'm treading my journey, I'm trying to, combine allopathy with Ayush. And so we call it AAYUSH or Ayush. So
Okay.
in this journey, I really feel that, Ayurveda is something completely, a world different altogether. It is a reflection, and it is so an embodiment of the Indian jnana. What the essence of Ayurveda is falling in line with all the Vedic shastras, and this is so very relevant and pertinent. And today healing is all emanating from disease, the root of disease. We are not, the modern system of symptomatic treatment is not addressing the root of the healing. So, and this is where Ayurveda takes its gigantic and Bhagirathi roop, and this is where I feel that acharyas like you have a profound and very, I should say, a very powerful role to play. And allopaths, I think in modern medical colleges and medical schools should definitely have a program of Ayurveda. And this is, for all healers and all practitioners. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Acharya ji, for gracing this occasion. And what can I say? I have no words. I'm so deeply, simply scintillated.
And if I can be allowed to say so, this Amrita AI, this other AI, the Amrita intelligence in Ayurveda intelligence, it all the more imperative because just very recently when that $500 billion Stargate was launched, the commitment from three global AI corp CEOs, one of the core use cases which was presented was in the field of medicine. So perhaps the Western wisdom is going in its own ways and means of finding out the cure, the root causes of diseases. Perhaps the Amrita intelligence or the Ayurvedic intelligence. This is the other AI. Perhaps if it goes deeper, the Ayurvedic intelligence, perhaps they can handshake somewhere or the other. It's a lot of interesting time in place, and such a marvelous work is happening which doesn't need so big dollars or just a propensity to capture it all, but the Vinay, the Darshan, the Vyakran, the Ayurveda. So with this, we move on to felicitate yet another, I would say, Saptarishis Prayasa, Indic इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन की बहुत ही निकट कर्णावती अहमदाबाद में सिचुएटेड द इंडस यूनिवर्सिटी द सेंटर फॉर इंडिक स्टडीज the IKS Center for the Study of Knowledge Transmission in India, and they are very specific aspect of their whole push for their deep dive into the Indic ethics and value systems based on the twin purport of dharma and niti, whereby the principles may change from one situation to another. Dharma remains non negotiable, contrasting niti with morality, encompassing the intertwined and involved precepts of rita, rin, yagya, श्रेय प्रेय निश्रेय पुरुषार्थ चतुष्टया स्वभाव स्वधर्म स्थित प्रज्ञ कर्म निष्काम या लोक संग्रह ज्ञान भक्ति straddling individual ethics vyakti dharma with larger constructs of society state and so on, a very intertwined and integral perspective of Indian knowledge systems. The Center for Indic Studies at the Indus University is pursuing. We would really like to bestow upon Bibek Debroy's भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा संवर्धन प्रशस्ति 2025 on them, and I would request the honorable representatives Ankur sir to accept this token tribute and also address the forum. Yeah.
Namaste, everybody. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah. Loud and clear, sir, please.
Namaste, Raghavji. Namaste, Surbhiji. Thank you so much for conferring this award on our center, the IKS Center for Knowledge Transmission, which is part of the Center for Indic Studies at Indus University, Ahmedabad. And this Indus University, Ahmedabad, is being run by our president, Dr. Nagesh Bhandari and our director, Professor Ram Sharma ji, Ritendra Sharma ji. He is the director for the Center for Indic Studies. And I am representing this IKS Center because I am running this IKS Center for Knowledge Transmission along with two of my colleagues. Here, as you have pointed out, sir, we are running three themes as part of the center. One is Indian ethics, as you have pointed out. The other is Indian education, and the third is Indic architecture. So we are developing modules on these three themes broadly, and our overall objective is to develop a framework for showing the knowledge transmission in India. So mostly the frameworks for studying knowledge transmission in India until now are Western frameworks that have been used to study how knowledge is transmitted in Indian society. But what we are trying to develop here is an indigenous framework to study the knowledge transmission in Indian society and how ethics is a very integral part of this knowledge transmission. So this is our objective. And along with this, we are studying the knowledge practices that are involved in various parts of the country. And for this, we have gone to different sites and especially studying how, in different fields like architecture, this knowledge is transmitted. So our objective is to document, this wide variety of knowledge transmission practices and also the various modes of knowledge transmission, because knowledge transmission was not only happening in a classroom environment, but there are different modes of knowledge transmission. So we want to document all of that. And I'm really grateful to you, sir. I'm grateful to your center and to Rethink India Foundation for conferring this award on us. And I very humbly accept this award on behalf of the Center for Indic Studies. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us. And as we can see, that the entire etymological aspects, jo concepts ko they are elaborating upon, which is the need of the hour. This is a great good work. सिंधु सरस्वती सिविलाइजेशन के बहुत ही नज़दीक से देख रहे हैं, जो भारत का प्राण रहा है इंडस यूनिवर्सिटी को, जहाँ प्रैक्टिस मीट्स थियोरी. मूविंग फॉरवर्ड फ्रॉम the western coast of the country to the Himalayan, I would say, Himabhumi, Himachal, the Indian Knowledge System and Mental Health Application Center. पी रामोनर सर ने आयुर्वेद के पूर्ण रूप को प्रस्तुत किया कि आयुर्वेद का जो ट्रेडिशन है. व्हाट आईआईटी मंडी, आईकेएस IKS MHA, एक बहुत ही सुंदर सूत्र के रूप में यह नाम निकल कर आता है, ईशावास्य मिदम की भांति. And they are being felicitated for bringing out the Ayurvedic perspective on mental health and well-being, as in physiology of sense organs and qualities of life, concept of Atma and Manas in Ayurveda, concepts of Nidra, Ayurvedic perspectives on psychosomatic and psychiatric disorders, expanding the entire envelope of Indian mental health system. Yesterday, Rethink India concluded the World Education Forum. This is something which we are convening for quite a couple of years, mapping it closely with the World Economic Forum of Davos. And in the valedictory address, our eminent speaker, Yogi Yogesh Kochar, said he is a veteran Microsoft person and very concerned about the advent of AI. He said that the future challenge would be all about the wars of the mental world. The mental warfare has come over there. Mind control is something where the next billions and zillions would be created out there. And at such an epochal time when mind control is becoming a kind of a global warfare, this great good contribution from the IKS MHA Center, from the new generation IIT of IIT Mandi, led by Professor Lakshmikant Behera Sa, who I just mentioned earlier as well. This is a profound contribution. I would invite the head of IKS MHA to accept this to contribute and also address the forum on this distinctive approach in the work what is happening out there.
Right. Good evening, namaskar, everyone. So, first of all, I am very honored as IKS. The whole team here is extremely honored to have this felicitation associated with such a important name in Bharat, Shri Bibek Debraji. And it is also an honor to be in the presence of this august and prominent audience who are contributing so well in this arena. It is really heartening to know, and this will further encourage our efforts in this area. Now coming to the center, I also have our honorable director, Professor Lakshmidhar Bhera, with me here. And about 2.5 years ago, uh, under his valuable vision and continued leadership, we established this center. And the goal of this center, the overarching theme of this center, is essentially research, education, and also translation in the area of mind brain consciousness. And some of the sub themes that we are focusing on are basically things like yoga, meditation, ayurveda, performing arts, and consciousness studies. But the main idea behind all of this is, one is that all of these have a very strong IKS basis, and also that they are targeted towards the important contemporary issue that the world is facing today, that is of mental health and well-being. So this is the overall vision, and the motivation behind the center. And at the center, basically, we run research programs, MS and MTech by research programs in themes such as cognitive engineering and music and musopathy, for example, as well as strong PhD programs in all the areas that I mentioned earlier. And some examples of some of the topics that, for example, we work on is things like theories of perception, cognitive biomarkers, wearable devices for IKS, sleep and dream studies, Ayurveda and mental health, performing arts, etc., etc. Right? So, of course, there is a long list, but like I said, the underlying theme for this, underlying motivation for this is holistic health, right? And looking at research problems, recommending some solutions, right, and building frameworks which can be tangibly translated. So we also file patents for some of the technologies that we develop here. And on the other hand, so in addition to working in these areas, the way we work is that we have a very well equipped center with state of the art facilities such as high density EEG, polysomnography devices, AR VR systems, right, GPUs for the data analysis and so on. So we have a very well equipped system where we basically collect human data to study various IKS related interventions, build model for consciousness studies, and and study different aspects of Ayurveda, Prakriti, for example. And basically based on this, we we try to contribute in this area, with some useful insights which are coming out of this research, right? And at the same time, for our students, and also for various interns that visit the center, every year, every semester rather, we also have a whole bouquet of courses, some taken by our internal faculty, and we also invited faculty or visiting faculty from various disciplines to take IKS related courses in our school, right, in our center, right? So with this, I also invite Professor Bhera, who is here, to also provide his valuable insights on this center. Sir,
Most welcome, sir. Please.
Thank you, Arnav, for representing IXMA Center. I thank Raghav and Suvi and all the honorable members of Rethink India for recognizing the work of this center. It's a very young center, only 2.5 years old. But within that, the center has 50 plus researchers. Majority of them are PhDs, and some of them, very few, are in master's program. And we have more than 25 faculty members associated with the center, including within in-house, as well as people like Professor Ganapati Ramanathan from RPI, Professor Desiraju from IIC Bangalore, Professor Anirvan Bandyopadhyay from National Institute of Material Science, Tsukuba, Japan. So this is, we want a scientific program, and that was the main objective. We want to present our knowledge system in a very scientific footing. And you know that we started an archival conference in 2023. The conference name is Mind, Brain and Consciousness Conference. And the first conference was held in December 2023, where we had 6 plenary talks, more than 20 invited talks, 165 technical presentations. And this time we are holding the second one in June. That is 4th to 7th June 2025, our second conference. And we always get all big shots in our area. Like this time, Deepak Chopra ji is coming to this conference. Amish Tripathi, the Romania Senko from Japan, who is working on aquaphotonics. That means how aquaphotonics can help in meditation. So these are the initiatives that we have taken. We have tried our best to take the best of the both world and present our knowledge system in a holistic manner. And why mental health? And I think you have rightly pointed out that mental health has become a pandemic. We need to work on it. The problem with the modern science is that with all the advancement, they have ignored the most important aspect of our existence, which starts with the consciousness and pervades the entire body through via media called mind. And this mind is called cognitive matter, but we have only studied matter. Physics, chemistry, biology, psychology, everybody is studying matter, but nobody is talking about cognitive matter. And our Indian knowledge system, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Sankhya, all our literature, including Upanishads, I feel Manduka Upanishad is completely filled with the idea of mind, brain, and consciousness. So we have rich heritage of the science of mind, And hence, we would like to take these understanding, and of course, very important aspects of Indian knowledge system is that you can decipher this knowledge contained within our literature, provided you practice it. So what is missing is that we talk about literature, but we don't put in practice in our own life. And hence, we do not derive the benefit for ourselves. And when we don't derive benefit for ourselves, how can we give the benefit to others? So with that, I would like to conclude saying that this program that we have established is with a very scientific rigor. We are one of the very few centers that are being authorized by Indian Knowledge System initiative of Ministry of Education. I think out of 3 centers, we are the one centers. That's what Professor Ganti Murthy told us. And he visited recently, looked at the center, and found that it was the best among all IITs, 23 IITs. So, and I think with all of your blessings and शुभकामनाएं, मैं आशा करता हूं कि ये जो सेंटर है भारत वर्ष को एक ऐसे दिशा देगा ताकि हम जितने सारे मेंटल मरीज हैं, मानसिक मरीज हैं, उनके लिए हम प्रैक्टिकल काम करें. बहुत सारे काम हो चुका है, whether it is mantra meditation, pranayama, like Brahmari and many other systems of pranayama. So all these things have been studied, but ontological science जो है वो भी हम पढ़ रहे हैं. अभी एक पेपर हमने भेजा है जिसमें परसेप्शन जो है, पहले परसेप्शन होता है, perception gets converted into thought, and thought gets activated into physical action. तो but modern science इसको दूसरी भाव से देखता है कि behavior is everything, and the behavior gives, or the perception and other things are emergence property of physical behavior. तो ऐसे एक जो गलत जो दिशा दिया गया है उसको हम ठीक करने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं, और इसमें हमारा मॉडल अभी काम कर रहा है इन फ्लॉकिंग ऑफ बर्ड्स, एंड होपफुली ऐसे बहुत सारे साइंटिफिक मॉडल्स हमारी सेंटर से आएगा और बुद्धिजीवी इंटेलेक्चुअल वर्गों को इंस्पायर करेगा. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir.
And I would, I would just like to add that I have posted the link for the Mind Brain Consciousness conference in the chat.
Okay.
So please, I invite all the audience here to submit papers to the conference, and also feel free to register and attend the conference. I'm sure you will get a very good experience at the conference, and it will give us a very great opportunity to interact among all the great centers of IKS. Thank you very much.
So मनुआलय के बहुत ही निकट जो मंडी स्थित है, और व्यास के तट पर भारतीय जो ज्ञान धारा है, व्यास बह रहे हैं वहां से, वशिष्ठ वहां पर इतना सुंदर उनका स्थान है, और मनु, that's the civilizational anchoring of Sanatan Bharat. And what Professor Behra mentioned so very beautifully, that भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा केवल बुद्धि तक सीमित नहीं है, यह अनुभूत करने योग्य है, एंड यू डोंट नीड प्रूफ्स ऑफ दैट ऑर्डर. अपने व्यक्तिगत जीवन में इसका जो व्यवहार है, इसको अनुभूत करने की जो आवश्यकता है, आई थिंक दैट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ द भारतीय बौद्धिक परंपरा, की वी कैन स्टार्ट यूजिंग इट इन आवर डे टू डे लाइफ. Sri Hari Vittalji from the Vedic Pond has just joined us. We would just come to him, but before We come back. We would now like to felicitate our Saptarishi, the seventh one, the Institute for Science and Spirituality. Professor Behra talked about Bhagavatam Sankhya, and they are the ones who are really working on for their academic elaboration of the cosmological and universal causality, technical and philosophies to attain mental and emotional balance in everyday life, manage and reduce mental stress, anxiety, and emotional overwhelm in personal and professional life, how to make ethical or dharmic decisions aligned with personal values, with morality and patience, imbibing a healthy lifestyle and practices that promote psychophysical well being, building meaningful and harmonious relationships, enhancing effective communication and critical thinking through the multifaceted exposition of the Sankhya system. So I would really invite the representatives from the Institute for Science and Spirituality to accept this token tribute and also address the forum. Sir.
Yeah,
Praveen.
namaskar. So thank you, Rethink India and Dr. Surbhi and Dr. Raghav for this facilitation, and I humbly accept on behalf of my acharyas, and specifically one of my acharya is here, Professor Lakshmidhar Behra, who is our time to time guidance also. So our journey started in 2011 when so we are part of the a scientific research program of ISKCON Delhi. We are part of ISKCON Delhi, and it was started in 2011 by Param Pujani Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and with the vision that, as the name suggests, that Institute for Science and Spirituality, because people think that science and spirituality are the two different paths. But as our Shastra says that we can, basically there is no difference in both the things. But one understand from the perspective is different actually. You can understand spirituality from a scientific angle like Professor Behra highlighted. And similarly, we can understand science through spirituality also. So both are, the parallel paths, and both give us the both way. So sometimes we have the misconception that if we become scientific, or then probably the spirituality becomes a blind faith. So this is not actually the correct understanding. If somebody is a real scientist, he will be spiritual also, because that thinking will force him to be go in that direction. So we started our journey in 2011, and so our main focus is in three areas. One is the outreach. Outreach means we conduct a lot of conferences, seminars, workshops, and we have been doing this, and many international conferences, national conferences, workshops we have done. We have participated in the IIT Mandi MBCC conference last year also, and we've done many conferences like in JNU and many other great institutes. And currently also like with Sharda University, we are having this international conference in February, coming up with the idea of science, spirituality, and health, finding the intersections. And similarly, we are also planning to organize one 2 days workshop conference on yogic perception. So perception is a huge topic, as Professor Behra also pointed out. So understanding the perception, it includes not only it includes the effect of not only the senses, but also the intersection of mind and also the soul. And one of the fellow speaker highlighted the importance of reading from the original scriptures. So today I had the personal experience of reading the Vartika written by Nyaya Vartika, written by Udyotkara. the Sanskrit text. Somehow I got the translation of Ganganath Jha, and I was really startled and really surprised to know that the detailed explanation of perception, Pratyaksh Pramana, given by Udyotkarai, that 2000 years before explanation, I really surprised. This is, we need to really read the original text if we want to understand the depth of understanding and the thought process that has gone by in our scriptures. So, so we have three main areas where we work. One is the outreach, doing conferences, and the idea is to make people aware about the our Indian knowledge traditions in a scientific manner. And the second one is about the research areas. We are participating and doing research in many areas like meditation research, especially the Sankhya one you talked about, that we are taking guidance from Professor Behra only in that research. And then we are doing research in reincarnation, and we are studying the real subjects, because the research done by Ian Stevenson was from a perspective of the Western perspective. It was not something, but it was lacking the philosophical depth of the Indian tradition. Research, he has done 50 years of research, and Professor Ian Stevenson, and then Professor Satwant Pasricha. But the real explanation and understanding from the Indian tradition point of view, that was not done. So combining these two things, we are doing that. And another research which we are basically, MOUs are yet to be signed, but it has been finalized almost. Research on near-death experience and out-of-body experiences. These are real things, and this sheds light on that something is they are beyond this body. So, and what is that phenomena? So, and understanding that scientifically, recording the observations and presenting to the worldwide community. So, we are the MOUs are under progress with the. I will not take the name, but the very prominent institutes in India, the medical institutes. And the another research we are doing is on perception, how we perceive things. Normally, we think that the perception is happening just because for example, now I'm sitting in front of the light and light is coming in my eyes, and finally the image is getting through various stages of processes, finally getting processed in the visual cortex. But our shastras, like I was reading the Udyotkar's explanation, so that his explanation was that we see outside our eyes, we don't see inside. So it's a novel way of understanding. Although this has been raised many times, but it was in the category of pseudoscience, But if we see our experience that it is actually like that, we see outside. So to understand it scientifically, so that is another area where we are working. Parallelly, we are also bringing about understanding our philosophical traditions, especially the Gaudiya Vaishnava traditions. Gaudiya Vaishnava traditions means the tradition, the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Bengal and in 1482, and then he started the Bhakti movement, and along with that Bhakti movement, he also started his followers were great scholars, and they wrote many commentaries on Bhakti granthas. So one of the great scholar was Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami has written, he was the modern Ved Vyasa who has written more than 5 lakh shlokas, verses on Bhakti. So, especially on his scriptures, especially the Tattva Sandarbhas, which that is again related to the Pramana Shastras. So, we are doing research on that and trying to show that how we can enrich the current scientific understanding through our Indian tradition. This is another thing we are doing. Parallel to this research and outreach programs, we are also training people. So we have our flagship program, which is known as Art and Science of Practical Spirituality. So people want to not only understand the theory, they also want to practically understand and feel the thing. So we have this flagship program of ASPS, we call it Art and Science of Practical Spirituality, where we enroll people with the scientific background, intellectual background, and this 10 weeks program. They undergo a beautiful journey of Indian tradition combined with the practical application in their life. So this is our small efforts, and we basically all our efforts we offer our these small efforts to the our lotus feet of our acharyas, our gurus, and especially Srila Prabhupada, who was the guru of Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and who started Bhaktivedanta Institute at that time in 1975 to take on the ideas that the Darwinian evolution is not correct, it is false, and the life from chemical is actually not, it's false. So Srila Prabhupada, at that time, he started Bhaktivedanta Institute that is still going on. And even before that, his guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami, who was famous as a living encyclopedia at that time in Bengal, and he was coming up with many magazines and books, and his own father and guru Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in 19th century, he was in 1859 Darwin wrote this in this Origin of Species, and in 1870s he was writing against this wrong philosophy that this is not correct. One species cannot change into another species through natural selection. So in 1875 he was writing, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we have a long tradition of bringing out the valuable lessons from the Indian traditions and giving to the public. So that's our humble effort, and thank you very much to the fraternity here, and to the Rethink India team for recognizing the efforts, and it means a lot to us. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
We would be having an open house. We have been joined in by a host of IKS master trainers. तो हम उनको भी एक मौका देना चाहेंगे कि वो विवेक दा की स्मृति में अगर कुछ कहना चाहें, पूछना चाहें। ऐसे विशद उद्भट विद्वान आज इस सभा में उपस्थित हैं। पर उससे पहले श्री हरि विठल, जिनके नाम के जो तीनों शब्द हैं वो भगवान के नाम से कीर्तन हो जाता है, श्री हरि और विठल, तो वो पुनः यहाँ जुड़ चुके हैं। तो श्री हरि विठल ने जो वैदिक पॉन्ड नाम से कार्य किया है, एंड आई वुड लाइक टू रीड हिज साइटेशन, द ग्रेट गुड वर्क ऑफ फॉर इमर्जिंग एज एन इनक्रेडिबल IKS सेतु, facilitating the inner unfolding of young minds through the embodying and promoting dharmic values through a slew of creative and innovative interventions, as in Shubharatri, bedtime indic storytelling, Arogyam, yoga and Ayurveda immersion, mantra, manjari, Vedic chanting, leading through Mahabharata, Anvishiki, विजिग शिशु एंड सो ऑन। सो श्री हरि विठल जी से निवेदन करूंगा मैं कि ही एक्सेप्ट दिस टू कंट्रीब्यूट एंड आल्सो एड्रेस द फोरम, एंड देन वी विल हैव अ शॉर्ट ओपन हाउस। जिन किसी को अपनी आहुति, अपनी स्मृति, कोई बात रखनी है, दे आर मोस्ट वेलकम। श्री हरि विठल जी।
Namaste, Raghavji, and all of you. Namaste. Thank you so much. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Really happy and glad and grateful to be here amongst all of you. And while I'm listening to the people, the work that many people over here are doing, I'm feeling very humbled and grateful to be here. So, Vedic Pond is a small initiative that me and my wife are running now. Small team of us are doing it with complete passion and inspiration. So different inputs that we have received in this journey as we pursue IKS. So I come from a background with Chinya Mission. That's where I started my journey into IKS and into storytelling, teaching kids, and into IKS itself. Whereas Namrata, my wife, has been part of the Krishnamacharya yoga tradition, and her learnings and experiences, exposure that she has received in her journey, and all people who have come into our team, like Mr. Radhakrishnan, Mrinalini ji, So many other people, I wouldn't be able to name all of them. Each one of them have brought something very special and unique into our community. And what we should do is, as we call ourselves a Setu, we want to work with the contemporary education system. And what we want to take to them is the Indian knowledge systems. So we have programs such as storytelling Shubratri, Arogyam, which is yoga Ayurveda, where we take the first principles of Ayurveda to young learners in the sixth and seventh grade. We do that with activities, a lot of reflective activities and storytelling. We also have a program called Leading Through Mahabharata, which is inspired by our Acharya's book, The Five Seats of Power, written by Raghu Anantanarayanji. And we also have a program called Anvikshiki, which is a program which we have curated, contextualized for young learners in the ninth and 10th grade. And this we learned from Srinivas Mahodaya during our time at Rashtra. And before I, conclude, I would miss if I don't thank all the acharyas and our well-wishers. So I'm really grateful to Swami Mithananda, who's the Acharya of Chinya Mission Chennai. He has been a great inspiration and a guide for all of us here in Vedic form. Also, Raghu Anantanarayanan, he has molded us, guided us, and he has taught us how to be better facilitators, how to permeate IKS and not just talk about it. And that he has shown us. And also Raghav Krishna ji, and Reena ji, they have been constant pillars of support and motivators in this path. And they have always been there to, uh, fuel our inspiration more and more. So, and Srinivasa Mahodaya, who has given us, a lot of wisdom and a lot of compassion and love. So, we draw a lot of inspiration from all of them. We accept this and wish to offer it to all of the gurus that have been part of our lives. And this is only a reminder for us to keep doing what we are trying to do and trying to do it in a better way as we go about it. Thank you once again to Rethink India Foundation. And what better to receive in remembrance of Bibek ji. We are very, very grateful. Thank you so much, Raghav ji and Surbhi ji.
Thank you
Namaste.
so much, Shri Hari Vittal ji. And I would request all our Saptarishis who are still out here, if you can just come on the camera so that we can snap a memorable group photograph out here. And if anyone else who is among the audience also can wants to speak out, you're most welcome. And yes, so yes. Dr. Surbhi, your formal vote of thanks if anybody is not out here, and I will take the group photograph. Yeah.
It is indeed a moment of great, I should say, divine ecstasy and, true bliss that we are all together at this forum, and we are remembering Viveka and his legendary work. And we are all taking a sankalpa to further our journey and the yatra in this, whatever we are, the seva which we are rendering to Bharat Mata in the form of Sanskriti and traditions, Indian knowledge systems, which we are furthering. And this is to thank from the bottom of our heart and soul all the distinguished and esteemed acharyas and manishi tattva of Bharatiya Sanskriti and Parampara to have graced this occasion. And once again, heartiest gratitude and pranams to one and all.
What a day to enter the 75th year of the modern Indian Republic with this baseline civilizational foundation of भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा. आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत प्रणाम. And we remember the living legend of Vivek Da, whose memory, whose works keep on inspiring us. विद्वान सर्वत्र पूज्यते सर्वकाल पूज्यते. तो विवेक दा को उनके 70वें जन्म जयंती पर बहुत बहुत नमन, प्रणाम। और जैसा कि अनुराधा मैम ने कहा कि हम सभी में भी उनके जीवन के कुछ क्षण, उनके द वे ही क्रिएटेड such a tome of literature, even being at the helm of economic affairs. He was a mover and shaker at the नीति आयोग also. तो उनके जीवन के कुछ अवयव हम सभी में आ सकें, इसी आशा और विश्वास के साथ, इसी प्रार्थना के साथ प्रणाम सभी को, नमस्कार।